Bird of Prey 5. El Karuga. Qapla.
I'm going to take this opportunity, however, to suggest that we all hail Karuga. That's all I'm saying.
Forgive me, Doctor. I'm receiving a number of distress calls. I don't doubt it.
Y'all remember to tip your waitresses. Have a mighty fine night.
If you come in peace, surrender or be destroyed. If you're here to make war, we surrender.
Both good. The important thing is I'm meeting new people.
When the appointed hour arrives, the Marauders will deactivate their cloaking devices and begin transporting Klingon shock troops directly to the landing zone.
Landing zone? Where? Tell me.
Why not? Your feeble weapons will be useless against us. We will kill all your males and take your females to mate with.
All right. Now the Federation's taking over, whether you like it or not. You people, you've been running this planet like a piecework factory. From now on, it's going to be under one roof. You're going to run it like a business. And that means you're going to make a profit.
Look at these 3 words written larger than the rest, with a special pride never written before or since. Tall words, proudly saying, "We the people."
Hi, I'm Nicole DeBoer. I played Lieutenant Ezri Dax on DS9, and I welcome you to Bird of Prey 5 channel. Hail Karoga.
Hello world, it's Bird of Prey 5, Qapla, and welcome to Wednesday, September 27, 2023. Today we are watching Star Trek Enterprise, Season 2, Episode 19, Judgment. And I see now I misspelled the word judgment on the thumbnail. I missing the E between the D and the M. Judgment will be corrected at some point. But this episode originally aired April 9th, 2003. And welcome to the panel, Captain, Fandom Nerd, Qapla Captain.
Qapla.
Do you recall the first time you saw the episode Judgment?
Oh, man.
Not judgment, but Judgment.
No.
Neither do I. LDG, on the other hand, said it was a lovely episode. First in the chat. Welcome, LDG. John Araki says Tuba and Aloha world. Aloha, John Araki. And John Araki says, was Bird on time? Question mark. Was the pre-chat lost? Question mark. Will anyone join the panel? Question mark. Tune in at 4:15 p.m. to find out. Well, it's 4:01 p.m. and we were able to definitively answer all of those questions and more. John Araki says hashtag Cronurse. John DeMarco says, I'll say this for the House of Doros. They're consistent. And then I put in a link to a YouTube video. It is, in fact, the link for this week's very short track. Now, the past 3 very short tracks have been absolutely awful. The first one was absolutely awful. The second one was not quite as bad, but still pretty bad. The third one was terribly awful. And this fourth one surprisingly good. Actually, surprisingly funny. I guess the broken clock is right twice a day scenario here. This one wasn't expecting anything out of it. I was expecting another giant embarrassment for Trek, and they surprisingly pulled out a small win, but a win nonetheless. Actually worthwhile. I mean, the whole thing is I believe 2 minutes and 16 seconds or something. So I think there's less than 2 minutes. There's certainly less than 2 minutes of animation, but of story. But what it does have, I chuckled. I had a legit chuckle, and it's like, wow, that was not a bad episode. Very short tracks. So I have to say, this one particular episode, I think they set up everything and they set up the pins and knocked them all down. So a little bit of credit where it is due. Just want to stress it is a little bit of credit. It's not a lot, but a little bit, but it is due. So I give it. Richie Poole says 4 Vicks. Welcome, Richie Poole. And anyone else who might have seen the very short track, I'm interested in what you thought of it. Captain Fandom Nerd says hello. Hello again, Captain.
Hello.
Did you see the very short track, Captain?
Yes, I did.
What were did you have any thoughts?
I was a little surprised.
Surprised. Different? Surprised
Different.
good?
Different and good, yeah.
Huh? Okay. Richie Poole says computer freeze program. Yes. He must have seen it as well. Richie Poole says, after watching that very short track, I am now convinced that Bird of Prey 5 is a simulation, but Sister of Prey is real. Okay. The very interesting distinction to make, but who knows? Yvette, the lovely Yvette says, good evening, Bird and everyone. Good evening, the lovely Yvette. 47 Yorktown says, hello, young sir. Hello, 47. And then put in the link to watch today's episode in the screening room at birdofprey5.com/SR. That's where you can watch today's episode of Enterprise with us. And I will pin that. And it also has a link to the panel if anybody is interested in joining. Substance D says Qapla, Substance D. Dan Ben says hi. Hello, Dan Ben. And Dan Ben says, I saw the new very short track today, and I liked it. Computer end program. Lol. Yes, I did. I did too. Schwario says, Bird of Prey 5, Qapla Bird. I hope you and the family are doing well today. Thank you, Schwario. I hope you're doing well. And Schwario says, hello to you all. It's been a long road. It's Kronos. Hey, Kronos is in the house. Qapla Kronos. Indeed. I believe those are the exact words in the very short track. I don't want to spoil it for anybody. The link is up there. Like I said, it's 2 minutes. So go ahead and watch it and come back. We'll just be starting. We'll be starting in a minute or two anyway.
Yeah.
Squario says hello to you all. Kronos says Qapla, Bird of Prey 5. Captain Fandom, I'm sure he means, and to the chat. Qapla, Kronos. Okay. So, this is, like I said, season 2, episode 19. This is the episode. It starts out where Captain Archer is on trial on Kronos, and before the end of the episode, we're going to go back to Aurora Penthe, which I believe we hadn't seen again since Star Trek VI. And this particular episode, you have J.G. Hertzler, who is the actor who played Martok. He's played other things, but he's most well known for playing Martok on Deep Space Nine, so his voice will sound familiar. He's the main Klingon. In this episode, he plays the judge. He plays the public defender, basically, for Captain Archer. And the other thing about this episode is that Scott Bakula, Captain Archer, he thought this was one of his most favorite episodes of Enterprise. So that was an interesting thing to take note of. What other fandom is there? You're right. Dan Ben says apparently no one's ever escaped from the Aurora Penthe. Kronos says blood wine, the blood of what? And Kronos says, what is Scott Bakula? Scott Bakula, you know who he is. He's the actor who plays Captain Archer. He was the guy from Quantum Leap. That guy. Okay. So let's go ahead and get ready. I'm going to go to the screening room. Unless, Captain, anything you want to add before we start?
No, not at all. Thank you for having us.
You're always welcome. Thank you. Okay, so I will count down and head to birdofprey5.com/SR to watch. If you're on a mobile device, try to get a second mobile device. And then if you're watching only through YouTube, it will we'll get a screenshot every 10 seconds or so you know whereabouts we are. And Chrono says, it's my accent. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And it starts. And we have the judge knocking on his ball against the podium. Captain Archer is just brought in, and the Klingons are demanding justice. And the judge is smashing his sparkly ball. You stand accused of conspiring against the Klingon Empire. How do you respond? Archer says he's not guilty. The tribunal will convene tomorrow, and he can prove his innocence. And Mr. CCDV is in the house and says, what's up, y'all? Hello, Mr. CCDV. And Taylor Swift, greater than Disney Star Wars, says, hello, Taylor Swift. Greater than Disney Star Wars. Sassy and Mama Pray. Karogan emojis. And the Enterprise theme music is playing. In a long time. Our time is finally here. Taylor Swift says hello. Dan Ben says, you see that a lot in sci-fi. Judges with a ball. LDG says 10 out of 10 opener on this episode. Minus the copy and paste Klingon. Mr. CCDV says, Kronos, it's been a while. And Kronos says, hey to Dan, Pickles, and says, Klingons have anger issues. And then he tells me to sing it. Sing it. I can reach any star. I've got faith. I've got faith. Faith in the heart. There you go, Kronos. There you go. And well done. Thank you, Kronos. And Taylor Swift, greater than Disney Star Wars. Thank you for the mom will pray emojis. And we're up to Judgment. And we got poor Archer. I tell you, the Klingons, at least they feed their prisoners decently. It's a really big piece of meat as opposed to Gok. I could probably eat that. They promised him a trial before the execution. Dr. Phlox came in to go check on him. He lies to make it seem like he's got some type of disease that's contagious, so he gets the Klingon. So kind of leave him alone. They've been there a few days. And the condition necessitated a visit from the doctor. Rortog isn't rummy, says Kronos. I don't know. Is it Rawtog? Arg? Whatever it is, it looks more, it looks more palatable than most alien prison foods.
Agreed.
The accommodations. Yeah. That is a good source of protein. We searched it, scanned it. It's safe to eat. There's Martok, J.G. Hertzler. But you're not here to treat him. You're just asked if he's infectious. He doesn't think so. Kolos. Would have been nice if I had seen this before Jet Nerdy. Tribunal's about to begin. He's familiar with the charges. He's not too. There. Now you've been charged. The evidence will be presented. He'll conduct a defense. He's like, how can you conduct a defense when he doesn't know what really happened? He says, I know what happened. You can't speak. Antiderivative Jill says, I have 2 devices today, so I can listen and drive. Drive safely, Jill. Jim's Landscape LLC, #1. Commodore Productions is Hail Bird and chat. Hail to you, Commodore Productions. Kronos is Bird of Prey 5. Are you a critic of alien prison food? Basically. There is no jury. He says, I hope they're not the jury. There is no jury. Honestly, sometimes that's better.
Yeah.
Jim's Landscape has the Repair 2 video out. Kronos says, hey to Jim. Dan Ben says, a lot of prison food looks like oatmeal or porridge. The tribunal is convened. Strength to the empire. Doras, son of what? This has to be a different Doras. Oh. Captain Doras, tell about the encounter with the accused. He is now a 2nd weapons officer. has been demoted. He was reduced in rank. Distinguished Klingon warrior stripped of his command. Kronos says, hey, the anti-derivative Spartacus. Ganvan says, Deep Space Nine had a Cardassian courtroom episode with O'Brien. Yes. Yes, of course. With them, they were already guilty. Mr. CCTV says, I have caught up to you, Bird of Prey. Woohoo. Young Doras. Kronos says, no, Doras is a good Doras. The sisters were okay, though. Oh, they're going back in time to show us what happened. That's not how it went down. Fire one shot and you'll be joining your ancestors in the afterlife. What would it point? What would be the point of objecting? Why would you pity him? He would die in honorable combat and go to Stovacor. It is the Doras that betrayed the Empire.
Yep.
LDG says, why do I keep expecting these Klingons to start singing? Fuck you, LDG. Bruno says, I will not see the singing Klingon episode. Good for you, Kronos. Good for you. He's headed for Saturn.
Sure looks like it.
Dan Van says, this is the first time we see a D5, but we did see a tanker variant earlier in the season. I'm kind of annoyed. I was looking for a good Klingon view screen with lights. And this one would have been great because it's already 16:9 format, but there's no lights on their view screen. The only Klingon view screen with lights, more modern, was the Deep Space Nine, the Negvar from the last Mirror Universe crossover episode, The Emperor's New Cloak. Now, in HD, but it's still 4:3 HD. And to get it to 16:9, it's kind of shitty. So I really don't have a good HD Klingon source for a view screen, except the one I still have, which is from the movie. demand he be held responsible. Sounds like he'd be held responsible. They want Gok. Oh, Jock?
Jock.
He's under the mistaken impression anybody gives a shit about the truth.
That would be true.
Porthos would eat it.
Oh, yeah.
Just fucking put it up to one of those flames on the wall and cook it.
No kidding.
You've got fire. Kronos says, put liquid heat in the Klingon jock straps. That'll piss them off. And Kronos is kind of like our justice system these days. Indeed. Mr. CCTV says rare meat is good meat. And Kronos says medium rare is good. I agree. So Archer says, what if I did cooperate? What would happen? They'd be charged with treason, end up in a court like this. And to tell the magistrate he'll pass on his offer. Only a fool would sacrifice people for people he barely knows. He's like, they're good people. I won't turn them over. If you let me testify, tell his side of the story, but everybody's perfectly happy to ignore what they want to hear. Mr. CCTV says medium is overcooked. In the past, courts were more willing to listen. A good history lesson. He's an old man, too old to challenge the rules. Kronos says peeps like that. Also, peeps that like well done. Also, probably like pineapple on pizza. Mr. CCTV says you are correct. And Kronos says, ah. Look who's back. Strength to the Empire. Dan Ben says, Bird of Prey. Do you think Star Trek does good courtroom episodes? I do. I'll be honest. Almost every Star Trek episode that involves a courtroom or a court type scene is a top half episode. And that includes Orville too. In TNG, of course, you got Measure of a Man. You've got, is it the Drumhead? You've got that episode where they think they made a deal with the devil, and the woman is like here to collect her planet after 1,000 years of peace, and she pretends to be Feklar, and Worf is like, "You are not Feklar," and she turns into the Klingon devil. She's, "Oh, but I am Worf, the dishonored dead," or whatever. Yeah, I mean, all of those are great episodes. On DS9, you got the episode where Cisco is defending Worf. The Klingons are trying to get Worf to be, what's that called? Being sent to the Klingon Empire to stand trial. They're trying to block it, extradited. The Klingons are trying to extradite Worf for destroying what they said was a civilian carrier, but of course that was all a lie. That was a great DS9 episode. TOS, you had Court Martial. It's a good episode. The Menagerie, obviously, very cool episode. Pretty much all Trek episodes involving court and courtrooms and law have been particularly good episodes. Mr. CCDB says the Sparky Ball. Woo. Chrono says there are creams for that. Chrono says Bird of Prey 5. Does Mama Prey have a tail, oh Prey, after the show? I don't think so, Chronos, but I will ask. Mr. CCDB says, so Chronos, which cream I was supposed to use on my Sparky Ball? And Chronos says, I'm not a doctor. How should I know? Dan Ben says, I was watching a newer episode of American Dad recently, and Roger was wearing the blue Orville uniform. Chrono says, can't go wrong with aloe. Mr. CCDB says, very well, I shall smell like a plant. Chrono says, the DS9 court episode was good. Worf was on trial. And Mr. CCDB says, Worf gets on trial a lot. And then, of course, Star Trek 6, where Worf was the lawyer. And by Worf, I mean Michael Dorn, playing Worf's grandfather. And Chrono says Worf was there for the first Q trial. You know what? The Q trial was probably the worst courtroom trial in any Trek episode. I completely forgot that the first episode of TNG would count as a courtroom episode. On the other hand, All Good Things would also count. The trial never ends. The trial never ends. Chrono says it was a show trial, just like today. And Dan Vence's DS9 season 1 episode where Dax was on trial. That was another good one. Yeah, Dax, Curzon. I don't think it was season 1, was it? I thought it was a later episode. I thought maybe season 2. Maybe it was season 1. But yeah, where we find out Curzon didn't want to Curzon had a little extra time with one of his good friend's wives, and he didn't want it to come out that she and him were a little bit more than friends. Kronos says the Dax one was annoying. Mr. CCDB says Kirk and McCoy were both sent to dilithium mines. I thought that was only for orphans. That's in Karoga. Kronos says Dax gets around. The Dax symbiont certainly does. Laid a trap. Kronos says Karoga Pente? Dan Ben says, I always like ship schematics that they'd put up in screens in Enterprise. Well, to be fair, it's not his concern. I'm the manager. Hide behind it. Now they can't see us. Looked a little further than 800 meters. Dan Ben says Klingons are conquerors. General Martok said to Worf. True. We're conquerors. Mr. CCTV says real Klingon fighting, real Enterprise. I missed those episodes. He is guilty of being an idiot.
Ooh.
Bruno says Klingons actually do research. Apparently some do. Not good that they're both in jail. Blood wine. I wonder what was a good year in those years. Couldn't it be 2309? Dan Ben said there was a Klingon research lab in season 4. It's true. Probably tarred blood.
More than likely.
You'd like to believe all Klingons were soldiers. No, his father was a teacher. His mom a biologist. And they encouraged him to take up the law. But now all young people want to do is take up weapons. Honor and victory. Any victory. But what honor is there in victory over a weaker opponent? We were a great society not long ago. Honor was earned through integrity. What changed? Yeah. It's not really an answer. Guilty as charged. Even if he didn't intend. but it cannot ignore his actions, assisting the Klingon people. Sentence of death is commuted. Yay! Jonathan Archer, you are condemned to the dilithia mines on the penal colony Rora Pente the remainder of your life. That doesn't sound good. It does not sound good. If only we knew what Rora Pente was. Oh, wait, we do. The prosecutor protests. The sentence for these crimes must be death. And Martok says, this is death. Condemn this man to Rora Pente. The life expectancy of a prisoner. 6 months. This was the question on Jepnerdy, and I couldn't think of the name Kolos. Honor. You acknowledge that Arthur acted with conviction, and how do you repay him? With this public display of compassion before sending him to this death in a frozen cave. Just forgive if I forgive. Just see the honor in that. Now you're in contempt. You will join him in Rora Pente for 1 year. Mr. CCTV, well, I guess they escaped prior to Kirk and McCoy. Powell says we have to leave immediately. We don't have a choice. Quite inhospitable for a Pente. Tucker's willing to risk it, but the captain said not to risk it, saying rescue is not an option. There are diplomatic channels. Some Klingon bureaucrats can be persuaded. Take us out of orbit, Mr. Mayweather. Mr. CPTV says Trip is the best character in this show. You'd think they would have better tools for mining than just pickaxes. Nothing survived on the surface. Pretty much.
Yep.
All humans are stupid. Mr. CCTV says, I made my wheelchair ramp with a pickaxe and shovel. It's not fast, but it gets the job done. And Dan Ben says, the script states the trial took place on Neandra 3. That's where the trial was. It's Malcolm. And Andrew Jill says, I have been waiting until I could park my car so I could add Wolf in the Fold to your court case list. Absolutely. How could I forget Wolf in the Fold? A wonderful TOS episode. Poor Scotty on trial. And they believed it was him too, because a woman was responsible for getting Scotty injured. Yeah, Wolf in the Fold, another great court case episode indeed. Dan Ben says it's never revealed how Archer was caught by the Klingons to be put on trial in the first place. You know, they didn't have time. And we also don't get to see how exactly they escaped. But it's okay. I'm okay with that.
I am too.
You know, when you only have 45 minutes, you got to make some some
Choices.
cuts. Choices, indeed. What do you think, Captain? Good
I like it.
episode? Great episode.
I would say it's a great episode.
Yeah. I would say it's certainly easily a top 50%
Agreed.
episode. Arguably a top 33% for sure. I would say probably easily both. Yvette says, thank you, Bird. Too slow an episode in her opinion. I get it. It's not everybody's cup of tea. But I like it.
Yeah. Everyone has their own taste.
Mm-hmm. So for anybody who also hasn't checked it out yet, and I know I spelled judgment wrong. I'll try to correct the thumbnail. But who hasn't checked out, earlier I linked to, and I'll put it in again. That's the link to the latest very short track. This one only a couple minutes long, but it is funny. I do suggest you watch it when you can. Made me chuckle. I think it's just happens to be a particular good one. I don't think the rest are gonna magically get better, but this one was worth watching. Since they're out there. Yeah, they do, Jill. It's 2 minutes. It was worth the watch, in my opinion. It's the old broken clock is right twice a day, and this is the broken clock scenario. LDG says next episode is Horizon. While Enterprise diverts to observe an unusual planetary event, Travis Mayweather takes time off to visit his family on the cargo ship where he was born and raised, the Horizon. Oh, Jesus. Is that the next episode? I like Travis, don't get me wrong, but I do not particularly care for that episode.
No.
Yeah, that's the next episode enough. Sure enough it is.
Way to bring down that room there.
Thanks for letting us know, PG. Let's see. Although, what's after that? The breach. I don't remember what the breach is.
Not offhand.
Oh, okay. They had to go. They have to go rescue the Denobulan scientists. I think they were in a cave or something. I recall it being better than Horizon. I don't know about how much better, but certainly better.
Yeah.
Anyway. I guess that's pretty much it then for today. Dan Ben says, I like the part of Horizon that takes place on the cargo ship, not Enterprise. Horizon is a Star Trek episode where you can see a forklift truck, I believe. Mr. CCTV says, great on you, Pixels. And LDG says, mining episode. I don't think it's a mining episode. Mr. CCTV says, where are the years? I know I was in Iraq for some of these episodes. This was April 2003. Today's episode was April 9th, 2003. So next week was also probably April of 2003. That's where you may have been. A mining episode. I don't know what you mean by mining, LDG. LDG says they to the Denobulan collecting rocks in the caves. Mining rocks in the caves? Whatever. Doesn't matter. Mr. CCTV says, I was in Iraq. That explains why I don't remember the first runs. LDG, I don't know what the fuck you're saying. SPE lunk? Spelunk?
Spelunking, yes. Cave.
Like conversate, it's a word. Spelunk is a word.
Yes.
What does it mean?
Cave exploring.
Spelunk means cave exploring.
A little more complicated, but
SPELUNK is a word.
spelunking, yes.
I think he's making this shit up again.
No.
Dan Van says the breach has Dr. Phlox treat a patient. The two species don't get along. The away team has to go into a cave to get some Denobulan species off the planet. Yes, that's it. Okay. Yeah, all right. The Denobulans, cave explorers, and Antidote Jill confirms it's a word. Not in the Karogan dictionary, so I don't give a shit. I don't believe it. 47 Yorktown says to spelunk is to explore natural caves. That doesn't even make any sense. Dan Ben says spelunking is a North American word for the exploration of caves, especially as a hobby. Well, sounds like bullshit to me. But with that, guys, thank you for coming and listening. Captain Phantom Nerd, anything you want to say before we get going?
Just keep an eye out tomorrow. Could possibly have a morning brew.
Okay. Very cool. Keep an eye out. If you did do a morning brew, do you have any idea what your timing might be?
Oh, it's going to be probably about 10-ish Eastern.
10 a.m. Easternish?
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. Look forward to that. Okay, guys. Qapla All, Bird, and Panel out.